Hallelujah. Please take your seats. When we're planning for this program, I told the team that they should run it. But at the last minute, they said, no, Bishop, you have to say something. You have to preach a word. It's still a Sunday service. So in case my words or my preaching this morning is not as good as you will expect, please hold the theme responsible. So I just want to share briefly what I call learning to be happily incompatible. Learning to be happily incompatible. Because in relationships, we are different. That means we are incompatible. So you have to learn to be happy in that incompatibility. Singles, married, no matter how old your marriage is, I want to say that marriages go through certain stages or phases. The things that make marriage. Everything that is taking place in a marriage can also take place outside a marriage. People can love themselves outside marriage. People make children outside marriage. People live together even though they are not married. They can bring up children as cohabiting couples. Today in this world, people are scared of marriage. But I've come to realize that marriage goes through stages. The first stage in marriage is what I would call the passion stage. There's a heavy passion between the two people involved. They're passionate, they want to stay together. They're passionate, they want to be alone. They are passionate, they want to do their own thing. That strong passion. And that passion sometimes doesn't last for a long time. In some marriages, it lasts for one day. Because right at the reception, there's a quarrel. In some, it can last for 1 week. In some, it can last for a year. In some, it can last for 2 years. In some, it can last for 5 years. But it does not last long. That passion stage. And that is the stage in which when you watch programs, they show it as that is all about marriage. The passion they show, the love they show, the red dresses they wear, the places they go to, the honeymoon. That passion most of the time will lead to the next thing, which is pregnancy. And tell me, when the woman starts throwing up, starts vomiting, starts feeling sick, starts some cases could be extreme that she doesn't want to see you. Just leave me alone. So you enter into another stage, a stage of realization. This is not what I bargained for. This is not what it is. I thought it's all love, love, love. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. If loving you means being without you. I'd rather be alone. But you enter into the phase of realization. You begin to see yourself for who you are. You begin to see things from some other perspective. You talk to your spouse and the tone is high. Leave me alone. You've never had that tone before. It's a phase of realization, but thank God it is a phase. Then over time, the children will come, and the minute a child arrives in a home, everything about that home changes. If you are the man that wants all the attention, you can never get it anymore. Because children have their own attention too. And that should inform any woman, any man when you are married, that the mother or the father of your spouse lay the foundation when you are not there. That is a period where you have to develop good communication. Because you must learn to speak, learn to talk, understand what communication is all about, understand that what you say matters a lot, that everything boils around communication. Understand that you can speak a word and it makes somebody angry. You can say a word and it suits someone. You can say a word and it encourages someone. You can say a word and it could cause all kinds of trouble. So you must learn to communicate. That means before you open your mouth, you tell yourself, what effect will my word evoke from my partner? When you are addressing an issue, stay on the issue. Leave the person out. You can pinpoint this thing is not right, but there are better ways to put it. You don't tell the person you are a fool. You don't have sense. What is wrong with you, Seth? How did they bring you up, Seth? It's communication. Then the children begin to come. Then you begin to grow in the marriage. You begin to get to the next stage. I will call it the stage of rebellion. When you hear women say, I want to be myself. Maybe you have jobs. You are growing in your places of work. You're exercising authority. You're exercising leadership at your place of work. And this is a very serious stage, a stage of serious argument. The wife gets some terrible day at work and comes back home, and then you are there. You came early and you are folding your legs and watching football and waiting for one tired woman to come make food for you. At this point, there is a power struggle in the house. There are a lot of arguments. You hear words when they meet themselves, say, man, I didn't know that marriage is like this. This thing is one chance. Oh, marriage is a scam. It's only a stage. It will pass. And that could last for years. That stage could last for years. Women begin to join all kinds of groups, especially women. They join all kinds of groups. They want to have their own self-identity, as if somebody is dragging your identity with you. Women all over the world, listen, nobody is dragging your identity from you. A woman is a woman. A man is a man. A man cannot be a woman. A woman cannot be a man. Sometimes when I see women bodies, this is personal, I'm thinking, who is dragging womanhood from you? I can't be a woman. I will never be a woman. One day, some years back, we're joking, and I told somebody, the next world, I would like to be a woman. And then the person said, what if you become a woman and then God gives you a painful menstrual cycle? I said, no, I don't want to be a woman. This could last for 10 years. And at this stage, the marriage could break. But after a number of years, because it's a stage, that phase will finish. Then they will enter into another phase, a phase of cooperation. They have fought enough. They now know, like when we're in primary school, you see two people fighting, you try to hold them, they don't agree. You try to hold them, they say no. So leave them. They fight and fight and fight and fight, and they get to a point where they begin to look at each other. In some cases, you can call one of the couples and say, hey, since it's so bad, just walk out. And on leaving you, the person begins to think, but this person telling me to walk out has his own home. There was a case where two guys were fighting in one of the university campuses. And people were begging them, stop this thing right on the road. Another young boy just came, brought down his bag, opened the bag, brought out two items, a gun and an axe, and simply said to them, we won't see blood. Nobody told them, they ran away. It happens in marriage, you get to a point you stop fighting. You enter into a stage of cooperation. You realize that it is better to work together than to keep fighting. And then you will enter into another phase. So many of you are in that phase now. Your children have gone. They are no longer with you. They are in schools. The two of you are back together. It's a reunion stage. It flows in stages. Life flows. Marriage flows. It is in this stage that you begin to recapture what happened in the first year. You begin to live on the reflections of the passion stage. It keeps you going. You tell yourself stories, how we started, how we did this, how we went here for honeymoon, and so on. At that stage, you begin to enjoy marriage again. Yet there is yet another phase. The next stage is a stage where age is coming in. And middle age crisis begins to arise. One form of ill health or the other begins to arise. You begin not just to deal with the person, begin to deal with the person's issue, mental issues, emotional issues, physical issues, and all kinds. And finally, you will enter the stage, one can call it a completion stage. Where are we going to? We've been in this thing long enough. Where do we start from? At that point, you realize that it's been a journey. The journey is never the same all through. It cannot be the same. And so for young people here, don't think that it's going to be same thing you're looking at, that passion you're looking at. When the man is ready to pull out money, if he has money, or when the woman is ready to pull out so much money, if she has money. And I would like to read two scriptures for us. I can't be talking on the altar and I'm not opening scriptures. 1 Kings chapter 21. I want us to compare two marriages. 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 1. It came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel next to the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. So Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, "Give me your vineyard that I may have it for a vegetable garden, because it is near to me, next to my house. And for it, I will give you a vineyard better than it, or if it seems good to you, I will give you its worth in money." But Naboth said to Ahab, "The Lord forbid that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to you." So Ahab went into his house, sullen like a baby, and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, "I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers." And he lay down on his bed and turned away his face and would eat no food, like small pikin. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said to him, "Why is your spirit so sullen that you eat no food?" He said to her, "Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite and said to him, 'Give me your vineyard for money, or else, if it pleases you, I will give you another vineyard for it.' And he answered, 'I will not give you my vineyard.'" Verse 7. Then Jezebel's wife said to him, "You now exercise authority over Israel. Arise, eat food, and let your heart be cheerful. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite." Powerful woman. In this place, you could see the personality of the husband and the wife at display. The wife has a domineering personality, a never give up personality, a can do personality. That personality has its positive side and its negative side. So let's compare this personality here, these two personalities, with another personality. 2 Kings. Learning how to be happily incompatible. Interesting. 2 Kings chapter 4. Verse 8. For time, I will just do 2 verses. Now it happened one day that Elisha went to Shunem, where there was a notable woman. Note the word notable woman. She was rich. She was powerful. And she persuaded him to eat some food. So it was, as often as he passed by, he would turn in there to eat some food. And she said to her husband, "Look now, I know that this is a holy man of God who passes by us regularly. Please," I want you to know the word please. Please, let us make a small upper room on the wall, and let us put a bed for him there, and a table and a chair and a lampstand, so it will be whenever he comes to us, he can turn in there. This woman was notable. This woman was rich. This woman was influential. She was a powerful woman. But you hear her address her husband, please. Jezebel would not address Ahab, even though Ahab was the king, please. This reveals to you the personality of the people involved here. In marriage, two things I'm going to talk briefly. Number one, a man is different from a woman. And a man can never be a woman. When a man is stressed up and he wants to relax, he wants to unwind, first thing he does is he goes into a quiet mode. Going into a quiet mode does not mean my husband is not talking. My husband is not. No, he's unwinding. When a woman goes into a mode where she is worked up, she unwinds by talking. So here are two extreme things. Let us assume they both went to work and they return. This one is worked up, wants to relax, wants to be quiet. This one is worked up, wants to talk. Are you getting me? Am I still here? Have I lost you? Am I by myself? And if you don't understand these things, you begin to have issues that don't matter. For instance, the man is excited about something and he says, honey, I want us to go out for dinner. My friends are meeting somewhere. I'm giving you the reverse of thoughts, men and women. And then the woman says, I'm not coming. And the husband just says, okay, quickly dresses up in a hurry and happily and goes. You will come back and meet fire. When she says no, she means yes. But she wants you to persuade her. She wants you to pamper her. She wants you to make her do it. When a woman says, yes, what's going on? Nothing. That nothing is a volume of book. I don't know what I did to my wife. She's not talking to me. If she's your wife, let's call her padlock. Every padlock has a key. Find the key. Did you hear me, church? Every padlock has a key. I used to counsel a couple, and it's very personal to us, me and him. And I always tell him, I say, look, every juju, he get what they take please him. Then he would jokingly tell me, say, this one has rejected everything. I say, still look for something. And so while this marriage is going through stages, there are certain things I would like to say. Number one thing to make your relationship work is commitment. You must be committed. You must tell yourself the truth. This is how far we are going. Number two, you must learn to communicate. I've counseled couples and I realized one of the biggest problems in relationship, people don't know how to talk. All of us here put together, I can rate you all and tell you only 20% of you know how to talk. You will not know somebody knows how to talk until there's pressure, there's a problem. And then you see what comes out of their mouth. Uncultured words. Words that can be regarded as acidic. More than corrosive. And you will wonder if these two people will come back together one day, live in the same house, eat from the same plate, sleep on the same bed, after using such dangerous words. Communication. Just talk anyhow. So you have a husband you love, but you don't love the things he does. Because they are two different things. What he's doing and who he is are two different things. So you must learn to separate these two. That is what gives you the leverage for commitment. You know, men talk differently from women. Sometimes in the house, your wife looks at you. You just came back from work and asks you, you don't come. But you are seeing me. And women, let me say something to you. That's a secret. If you put pressure on a man to talk, he will never talk. You must tell me, oh, I will not tell you. He will not say I will not tell you, but he will never tell you. You are challenging his manhood. You are challenging who he is. You want the marriage to work, you want the relationship to work, you must come to a point, I will call it compromise. If you want a pound of flesh in every relationship, it won't work. You must learn to compromise, give and take. You must also be considerate. Consider one another. Sometimes ask yourself, am I not putting too much pressure on my partner? You press. Those who don't have strong personalities, they begin to develop a withdrawal syndrome. You can press and press. For instance, a man can press his wife until your wife will mentally break down. Before the mental breakdown, she will get to a phase where she will have dual personality. In your presence, she behaves differently. In your absence, she behaves differently. She has a dual personality. You must get to a point to understand that consistency is required or needed. You have chosen each other. And so you tell yourselves who you are. What do I mean by consistency? Is in most homes. You see them call themselves honey, sugar, five alive. But let there be an issue. You will not hear honey. If the man's name is James, I've been telling you, No more honey. Be consistent. Understand your various roles in the home. There are women who are fantastic cooks. There are women who are not good cooks. I can speak from my position. I've eaten in many places. And some food you taste. Wisdom says when you go back home, begin to pray for the husband. For the grace of endurance. And it is not the fault of the woman. And women, let me say this to you. There is no man who does not know how to cook. I prove it to you. Before he got married, he was a bachelor. One of the survival kits of every bachelor is you must cook for yourself. It's a survival kit. Even if you don't know how to cook anything, for a young man of today, don't tell me you don't know how to cook indomie. And here is your wife sick. When my wife was pregnant for our second child, for 4 months, look at my face, read my lips. 4 months, she did not enter kitchen. Not because she does not want to enter kitchen. She cannot stand the kitchen. She will throw up if she goes into the kitchen and throw up. So what do? You married another wife at that time. There has to be cooperation. There are women who are very organized as they are passing. For instance, when I was coming in and I saw these red stuffs, instinctively, I want to begin to pick them by myself. But I realize it is Red Sunday. There are women who can scatter the house. I mean, scatter. Keep one of the pair of the shoes at the door, the other one in the bedroom. And when they want to wear they begin to look for the everywhere and that is their nature. There are also men who are worse than that. Yet there are women also who organize the home, who want everything serene, who want everything kept in place. And so if your wife is the one that keeps everything in place, what do? Don't assume that my wife keeps everything in place. Oh, honey, thank you for the way you've kept the house. Always keep saying thank you. Thank you. You know why? There is one thing every human being wants: appreciation. Your wife cooks good food for you. You never say thank you. Recently we had the chef for a long time, and then the chef left, and then my wife cooked stew, and I was eating the stew and rice, and then she came and sat on the other end and said, "You're enjoying my stew. Long time that you ate good stew like this. You can't even say thank you." Men, when you see that, please don't argue. Just say thank you. Or she makes a good hair and comes home. You didn't even notice it. And then she brings up an issue. You can't see my hair? Don't try to speak English. All you need to do is, please, sorry. It's beautiful. Short, simple, and it does not put you in any trouble. But in all these things, it goes through stages. So those of you who are not married, don't think it's only one stage. You are going to go through stages. Those of you who are married, who are going through one stage or the other, remember, because it is a stage, that stage will not last forever. If you are committed, you will get to the end. In all this, I've avoided talking about two things. One, physical abuse. Two, sex. Because sometimes when people talk about marriage, all they want to hear is sex, 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 sex. That's not what keeps the marriage. There are serious issues that keeps a home that has nothing to do with sex. You can have all your sex in the passion stage. And so as you get older, you relieve that stage. You just reminiscence. You think about it. And that should be enough for you. The reason is, for you, the man, when you hit your middle age, you begin to battle with things like prostrate. You begin to battle with all kinds of health issues. Sex will be the least thing in your mind. When the children, 3 of them maybe, school fees are looking at you in your face. You cannot be talking. What manhood is rising? From where? In all, I'm saying this to you. Learn to be happily incompatible. Rise up on your feet.